Okay, welcome back to Florida Naturally, and we have John Jones here with us. And what's your title, John?
Well, I'm a wildlife educator.
Okay, all right. Now, we're at the Rattlesnake Festival here in San Antonio, but so what do you do the rest of the year?
Well, basically, I do educational programs at the schools, ranging with all types of Florida wildlife. I deal with panthers, otters, alligators, crocodiles, birds of prey. Take them to the schools, let the kids learn about them. You know, even the adults, universities, things like that, I take them. You know, anybody that's willing to be educated, I'm there to educate them.
How did you get involved in this?
Well, it was a hobby that went haywire. Of course, I started off always being fascinated with snakes, and then my Uncle Jim, who's doing the snake show with me today, been a major influence to me. You know, always knew that I had a passion for it and always try to enhance it for me, bring me snake hunting with them, tell me about the snakes, you know, get me excited and fired up about it. And from there it evolved into different animals.
Did you go to school for this too, or is it School of Hard Knocks?
School of Hard Knocks. You know, not to take anything away from school, but, you know, a lot of my experience has been hands-on. And, you know, I read a lot of books, of course, and know which books tell the right things and which books don't tell the right thing. But, you know, you can read everything there is about a snake, but until you actually get in there and handle the animal and learn more about it and see it up close, you really know nothing about it. You know, a book can only tell you so much. The hands-on really helps.
Can you remember the first time you really picked up a poisonous snake? You know, you're watching your uncle do it, right? And then you actually had to do it yourself, or
I think
wanted
it was
to do
in front of him, trying to make sure that I was doing everything the right way. You know, show him that I knew how to do it, and you know, like any young kid, I was eager to show my mentor that I can do, you know, the things that he can do. Of course, you know, 45 years experience with him versus 12 years experience with me. He got an upper hand on me, that's for sure.
Well, you know, you hear about the old rattlesnake festivals where they had rattlesnake, you know, fried rattlesnake and all this other stuff, and it's really not like that. This is an educational event, and certainly, you know, rattlesnakes are really endangered, aren't they?
You know, they're definitely special needs animals. They're threatened, definitely. The thing about the old-time rattlesnake roundups, you know, people just weren't educated about them. That's what it was. This show, everything that I've seen here has been about education. You know, and we try to have a purpose. You know, a lot of people don't like snakes, and that's why people would go out with a shovel and go after them. But the reality is that snakes are not out to get us. And the more we learn about them, the more we care about them. And that's what we're trying to get through here. It's just for people to understand more about the snakes.
And they, of course, kill a lot of rodents. What do we have here? This is a poisonous cobra, right?
Yeah, one bite and you're gone. Actually, this is called a Florida king snake. This is a harmless snake, one of 40 species of snake in Florida. There's 6 venomous species in Florida, and 4 species in this area, which you're going to find. This snake is actually very interesting because of the fact it's called the king snake because it eats other snakes. And his favorite food happens to be rattlesnakes.
Is that right?
Yeah, it tastes like chicken.
So this snake can be bitten, or does it just avoids the bite?
It can be bitten by a venomous snake. A rattlesnake, the venom doesn't affect them. So then, of course, turns around and eats the rattlesnake for dinner. It doesn't inject any kind of venom into it, but it does constrict its prey, which wraps around and squeezes it. Of course, if you notice how it wraps around, constrictors will bite their prey. What it'll do is bite the rattlesnake to hold it, then it'll wrap around and suffocate it.
Just a big mouth.
Exactly.
Not even that big.
Yeah. Well, you know what happens is that they can actually stretch their mouth the size that their skin can stretch 2 to 3 times their body girth. So this animal can eat a snake maybe this big, or even a rat about this big, just by stretching the mouth and stretching the skin.
He's kind of eyeing up this black microphone.
I think it's a wild. He thinks it's a wild rat, I think. You notice a lot of people often ask me about the tongue as well, if it stings when it touches you or if it tickles or anything like that. The main purpose is to sense. They feel with their tongue.
It really smells.
You notice they don't have ears. They can't hear anything. So they actually take their tongue to feel the vibrations. And they have the organ inside their mouth called the Jacobson organ. So when they stick their tongue out, bring it back in, that organ tells them what's out there.
And that's something.
So not necessarily just looking for food, but anything. Looking for a place to hide, warmth, sensing things.
Yeah. If somebody wanted to find out more about you or hire you to do an educational program, what's your, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can reach me on the web at www.otterman.net. Like I said, it's not just snakes. I deal with all sorts of animals. My specialty happens to be the otters. American river otters, do a lot of film work with them. I free swim with them in the wild.
Really?
But then, and I learn more about the animals hands-on and then educate the public at the same time. So I spend a lot of my time in the Everglades. That's where I'm located.
Okay.
And I take my otters out there on a weekly basis and free swim them for a couple hours at a time. We learn about the otter, we learn about the environment, we learn about the animals in the environment. It's funny, you think of an otter, you think of beauty, but when an otter goes in the water, he's top dog. Alligators leave, snakes leave, birds leave, fish leave. Everything is gone.
Because he eats their meat.
They're tenacious carnivores, is what they are.
Otterman.com.
Otterman.net.
.net. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Besides the snake show, there's lots of other things to see and do at the annual San Antonio Rattlesnake Festival. There's plenty of live music, great food, games, rides, crafts, and an antique car show. And don't forget to walk around and explore this fine old Florida town's architecture.